At 52, something shifts, and most people miss it completely. You stop buying things because you want them. You start buying things only because you absolutely need them. New tires because the old ones are bald, a water heater because the old one finally died, reading glasses from the drugstore because the menu is getting blurry, and somewhere quietly in the back of your mind, every dollar leaving your wallet starts to feel like a dollar that's never coming back. So you tighten up, you pull back on everything, and on the surface, that looks like financial responsibility. It looks like wisdom. But here's what I had to learn the hard way. At this age, not spending can be just as expensive as overspending, because there are specific things, 7 of them, that when you buy them in your 50s, they don't drain your wealth. They build it, some directly, some by protecting every dollar you've already saved, and some by extending the number of years you can keep earning at full capacity. Most of us aren't buying any of them, because nobody ever explained why they matter specifically at this age. That changes today. My name is Jack. I'm Gen X, same as you, and I spend a lot of time studying what actually works financially for people like us in our 50s. Not the recycled advice designed for 25-year-olds, but real strategies for where we actually are right now. If that's useful to you, hit subscribe and tap the thumbs up. It helps more than you think. Quick reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Now let's get into this. Here's something I notice about our generation that nobody else seems to be talking about. We're the generation that spent money on everyone except ourselves. And now we're paying for it. Literally. Most of us spent our 40s co-signing student loans for our kids. Not small ones either. $20, $40, sometimes $60,000 riding on our credit because the system told us that's what good parents do. Some of us are still making those payments right now in our 50s, pulling directly from the income that should be building our retirement. And here's the part nobody talks about. While that money was going out the door for someone else's future, the job market was quietly turning against us. At 50 plus, the resume that used to open doors now gets filtered out by algorithms before a human even sees it. Hiring managers half our age scan for culture fit. And somehow 30 years of experience doesn't fit. So we hold on to the jobs we have, accept the salary we're given, and stop asking for more. Because the alternative feels worse. And on top of all of it, healthcare costs are eating us alive. Premiums climbing every year, prescriptions that cost more than a car payment, procedures that insurance somehow doesn't cover, money that should be compounding in a retirement account is being absorbed by a system that charges us more every year for the privilege of getting older. This isn't a discipline problem. This is a generation that spent 2 decades putting everyone else's oxygen mask on first and never got around to their own. But once you see what actually moves the needle at this age, the shift happens fast. Let's reframe something right up front. When I say buy, I don't mean spend recklessly, I mean invest. In the truest, most old school sense of the word, these are purchases where the return is larger than the cost, every single one. And the first 3 are things you can act on almost immediately. It's like finding out your GPS has been slightly off course for the last 10 miles. The instinct is to keep driving the same direction, because turning feels like losing ground. But the reroute is what actually gets you where you need to be. That's what these 7 purchases are. A reroute, not a U-turn. A correction that changes where you end up. Number 1, a single session with a fee-only financial planner, not a commission-based advisor who earns money selling products, a fee-only planner who charges a flat rate $200 to $400 to look at your entire financial picture and tell you where you stand. One session. For most of us, this meeting uncovers overlooked contribution room, tax strategies, and retirement timing opportunities worth tens of thousands over a lifetime. This is the highest return purchase you can make in your 50s. And most of us never do it because we think financial planners are for rich people. They're not. They're for people who want to stop guessing. Number 2, a health savings account. If your employer offers a high deductible health plan with HSA eligibility and you're not funding it, you're walking past the best tax advantaged account in the American financial system. An HSA gives you a triple tax benefit, Contributions are tax deductible, growth is tax-free, withdrawals for medical expenses are tax-free. After 65, you can withdraw for any purpose, just like a traditional IRA. The current family contribution limit is over $8,000 a year. Think of it as a stealth retirement account hiding inside your healthcare plan, designed specifically for the years when medical costs hit hardest. Number 3, long-term care insurance. This is the purchase everyone in our generation knows they should make, and almost nobody does. And that delay is quietly catastrophic. A policy bought at 55 costs roughly 40 to 60% less than the same policy at 65. Every year you wait, premiums jump. Without coverage, a single long-term care event, which statistically impacts close to 70% of people who live past 65, can drain an entire retirement portfolio in under 3 years. Everything you spent decades building, gone. Not because of a market event, but because you didn't buy a policy when it was affordable. Now here's where it gets into our heads. Because the next 2 items are purchases most of us know we should be making, and we still don't. A 2023 report from the Employee Benefit Research Institute found that only about 40% of Gen X workers have ever even attempted to calculate how much they'll actually need in retirement. 40%, which means the majority of our generation is building a financial future without a blueprint. And when you don't have a blueprint, every spending decision, that is even a smart one, feels like a gamble. So you buy nothing, you hold everything, and you tell yourself you'll figure it out later. This is what I call the identity trap. I'm not the type of person who hires a financial planner. I'm not the type who buys insurance for something that might never happen. I'm not the type who thinks about retirement this carefully. These aren't financial decisions, they're identity statements, and they're keeping us broke. Number 4, low-cost index funds inside a Roth IRA. This sounds like investing advice for 25-year-olds, and that's exactly why most Gen Xers ignore it. But it shouldn't be ignored. It should be the foundation. A single total stock market index fund has historically returned around 7% per year over long periods. Inside a Roth IRA, every dollar of that growth is completely tax-free when you withdraw it in retirement. If you're over 50, the IRS lets you contribute up to $8,000 a year. That's not a gamble. That's the most boring, most proven, most time-tested wealth-building tool in financial history. The only real risk at our age is continuing to not buy it. Number 5, extra mortgage principal payments. If you still carry a mortgage, every additional dollar you throw at the principal right now is a dollar of fixed expense you eliminate before retirement. Paying an extra $200 to $300 a month on a mortgage with 15 years remaining can shave 4 to 5 years off the loan and save tens of thousands in interest. You're not losing money. You're buying back the single biggest line item in your monthly budget before you no longer have a paycheck to cover it. But here's the part most people completely miss. And these last 2 items are where it gets genuinely surprising. Everything I've covered so far is some version of financial defense, protecting money, optimizing money, sheltering money from taxes. All of that matters deeply, but there's an offensive play that almost no financial content discusses for people over 50, and it might be the most valuable purchase on this entire list. Number 6, a professional certification or skill upgrade that extends your earning power past 60. The average Gen Xer assumes their income peaks around 55 and then flatlines or drops as they get eased out or nudged toward early retirement. In a lot of industries, that's exactly what happens unless you deliberately invest in making yourself harder to replace. A project management certification, a data analytics course, an industry-specific credential that positions you as the person companies need, not the person they're budgeting to let go. These run between $300 and $2,000. The return isn't 1 more year of employment. It's potentially 5 to 7 additional years at your full earning capacity. At $80,000 a year, even 2 extra working years adds $160,000 in lifetime earnings from a $2,000 investment. No stock, no fund, no account in the world delivers that return. Number 7, and this is the one that surprises people, a complete estate planning package, a basic will, a healthcare directive, a durable power of attorney, and a full beneficiary audit across every financial account you own. The whole package costs between $500 and $1,500 through an estate attorney. This isn't about being morbid, it's about making sure the wealth you've spent your 50s building actually ends up where you want it and doesn't get devoured by probate courts, family disputes, or outdated beneficiary forms that still list an ex-spouse from a marriage that ended a decade ago. Nearly 60% of Americans have no estate plan at all. For Gen X, a generation actively building the most critical financial chapter of their lives right now, that number should be 0, because everything you accomplish with items 1 through 6 can be undone in a courtroom if number 7 isn't in place. These 7 purchases aren't expenses, they're equipment, and the gap between where you are now and where you could be at 60 comes down to whether you bought the right tools while the window was still open. 7 items is a lot to take in, so let's simplify. 3 steps that put the most important pieces in place this month in the right order. Step 1, and do this before anything else. Book the financial planner session. That's item 1 for a reason. It organizes everything else. Go to napfa.org or the Garrett Planning Network. Both list fee-only planners who charge flat rates, not commissions. Book a 1-hour comprehensive review. Bring your account balances, current income and tax bracket, outstanding debts, and your biggest questions. This single conversation tells you which of the remaining 6 purchases matter most for your specific situation. Because not everyone needs the same things in the same order. $200 to $400 for a session that shapes the next decade. That's buying clarity. Do it this week. The second thing, which most people walk right past, open and fund your HSA if you're eligible. Check your health insurance plan to confirm whether you have access to a high deductible plan that qualifies. If you do, open the account today. Most take 15 minutes online, and start an automatic monthly contribution. Even $200 a month adds up to $2,400 a year growing tax-free. If you can max it at over $8,000, even better. The key, don't use it for current medical expenses if you can pay those from checking instead. Let the HSA compound untouched. Treat it as a retirement account with the best tax treatment in America. Most of us walk past this every open enrollment season. Stop walking past it. Third, and this one is specific to our age group, get the estate planning package completed this quarter, not this year. This quarter. Call a local estate attorney, ask about a basic package, will, healthcare directive, power of attorney, and get it scheduled. Then, the step everyone forgets, log into every financial account you own and verify your listed beneficiaries are current. Old accounts from previous employers are notorious for listing ex-spouses or contacts from a life you haven't lived in years. Updating these takes one focused afternoon and protects everything you're building with the other 6 purchases. Without it, you're constructing a financial future with the front door wide open. These 3 moves, the planner session, the HSA, and the estate documents, form the foundation. Once they're in place, items 3 through 7 layer on naturally in the months that follow. You don't need to buy all 7 this week. You need to buy the first one this week and let it tell you what comes next. Remember what I said at the start? That shift that happens around 52, where every dollar going out starts to feel like a dollar you'll never get back. That instinct protected us through every setback, every financial gut punch, every season where we were putting everyone else's needs ahead of our own. That reflex to hold on tight earned its place. It's real. But here's what I've learned. The same instinct that kept us afloat is now the thing standing between us and the wealth we're still fully capable of building. Not theoretically. Actually, the math says so. These 7 things aren't luxuries. They're the specific tools that turn the decade between 50 and 60 from a slow, anxious wind down into the most financially productive stretch of your entire life. Every one of them is more powerful now, at your age, in your exact situation, than it would be at any other point. You've spent years learning when to hold on. This is the chapter where you learn which things are worth reaching for. 7 purchases, 1 decade, and a version of 60 that looks nothing like the one you've been quietly afraid of. That's not a fantasy. That's a shopping list with a payoff. Quick reminder, guys, I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. These are patterns I've studied and lived through that consistently work for people in our specific situation. If this shifted how you're thinking about spending in your 50s, drop a comment and tell me which of the 7 are you buying first? I want to know. I read every single one. And if you want to see what's coming for Gen X after 2027 and how to get ahead of it, that video is right here.